I'm just admiring the background there as well. You're
yeah.
in the garden, and I look like I'm in a prison cell.
Well, Sharon, there's this weird tree here, but can you see the butterflies on it?
Yeah, it's incredible.
Yeah, is it showing up? And like, we really wanted to get it in a video, so. Okay, James Newman, thank you for joining us.
Hi, thank you for having me. Very nice to meet you.
Yeah, how are things in Bangkok now? Is it starting to relax a little?
Yeah, I think we're coming out of the end of the tunnel. It's the curfew is finished, so we can go out all night now if we want to. Not that there's not many places to go, but we can if we want to. So 7-Eleven is open 24 hours again, which is cool. We can go to restaurants if we don't particularly like the person we're with, so we can sit a meter apart from them. We can almost go to pubs. I think we can go to bars that serve food. So some of like the British style pubs are open. Mm-hmm. But they're not turning on the air conditioning, which is awfully uncomfortable. So if you go and sit in a pub, it's pretty warm. So it's probably worth waiting a couple of weeks, I think, until things really open up. But hopefully they will.
Yeah, how have you found the kind of lockdown being in Bangkok?
It's beautiful for me. I'm totally antisocial. I like to sit in a room and write books by myself. So it's been absolutely fantastic. And I've got my teenage sons are at home as well, and they like to stay in their room alone and self-isolate anyway. If they win-win, everyone's happy.
Oh, that's great. Did you bring up your children in Thailand?
Yeah. They went to school in Icke in Bangkok and in Sriracha, which is on the coast on the way to Chonburi. Mm-hmm. So yeah, they have Thai passports and English passports. So I don't know if they will want to go on a gap year to the UK.
Yeah, the other way around.
Not as quite as exotic as Thailand.
No, I've got a nearly 10-month-old son. So always interested to speak to other parents living in Thailand. But his father, we're both British, so he's not Thai in any way.
You don't need to worry about school too much at the moment, but I don't think there is like an international type school on Koh Phangan. I was going to move there at some point. Oh, there is now.
Yeah, okay. But we don't have. This might be wrong, but we still don't have like a secondary school, international school. They have to go.
So you don't need to worry about that for a while.
Yeah. It's all, island life is great for babies, so
yeah.
It's good. So when you've been in Bangkok for 19 years, did you come originally for your writing and for your work, or did you just come as part of travel?
It was. I was one of those people who read the book The Beach by Alex Garland. Which was published in 93 or 94, I think, but I didn't get around to it until the mid to late 90s. And a lot of people at that time were actually backpacking. I mean, they still are, obviously, but there seemed to be a big push towards Far East at that time. We had like Anjuna in Goa in India, and Koh Phangan was just starting up with the parties and stuff. So a lot of people were moving that way, and I was one of them. And I just I realized that I could, there was lots of material here, lots of ideas, lots of things happening. So I always wanted to write anyway. I always did write since I was a little kid. And here I just had much more stimuli, much more material to draw from and to create with. So I stayed a year. I lived on, actually the first place I came to was Koh Phangan, and this was in 2001, and we stayed at the Sanctuary, which is just around from the Hatien, I think it's called.
Yeah.
It was really nice. Had that long table, everyone would eat alone or eat together in the evening. So we stayed there, and then I moved to Koh Samui and I lived on Koh Samui for about 2 years, and I was hopping back and forth quite a bit between Koh Phangan and Koh Samui. But yeah, always totally loved that part of the world. I still do, you know.
And
it's great to still be here somehow.
Yeah. What do you enjoy about living in Bangkok? Do you like the city life compared to being down here?
Well, I think we moved to Bangkok because of the school situation, and we needed the kids to go to and have more choice in schools. And I was teaching quite a bit back then as well, so I needed to have opportunities work-wise, and it was easier as a writer to have stories to do. And I like big cities.
Yeah.
Lots of things going on, lots of different people to meet, different restaurants, food, people, music. See, I love living on Koh Samui, but after a few weeks or after a few months, you would meet backpackers and tourists, and they would ask you what it's like living in paradise.
Yeah.
And you'd be like, well, it's not really paradise anymore, you know. So yeah, I love to have both, and you know, being in the city, we can scoot down to the islands.
Yeah.
When we're not locked down by the plague at least.
Yeah. So your podcast. Let's talk about your podcast. Your podcast is with a few other people, right? I can't remember their names.
Right. Yeah. This Strange Life.
That's it.
It probably is. Yeah. So I came on, I guess, about a year and a half ago. Episode number 39, 40, something like that. I came on as a guest,
right,
to talk about the films I was promoting at the time, and I guess there's something between me and the host, Mr. Mike Moret. We kind of got on well. We had a bit of fun, and he asked me back. So I came on again, and then I started, suggesting different structures and ideas, ways to do it. And then we did that, and then we pulled it apart again, and then we had a play around with the structure of it, and then eventually I was host, and now I get almost 120 episodes. So yeah, it's grown organically really well. And, more people are listening. I think it's one of the more popular podcasts in Bangkok.
Oh, great! And John Mcafee was a recent guest. To be honest, yes. I didn't watch all of it because I lost a bit of patience with him. But he's very funny. So
how do you describe this guy? He's like a presidential candidate, right, for the Libertarian Party. He's obviously founded Mcafee software antivirus solution. So he's an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
He had a lot of money, he lost a lot of money, but he just comes across as this kind of Wild West cowboy, doesn't he? He's like this, this insane. There's such good content. Really, I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, you can tell. Do you have a theme, you guys, of the kind of people that you like to talk to, or is it just who you have personal interest in, or what's the kind of concept?
Whoever will take us. I mean, we got a member of the Happy Mondays tonight, and we had David Icke on Wednesday, and obviously John Mcafee the week before. So yeah, I think we're kind of a bit lucky because we're in lockdown. So a lot of people a lot of entertainers are sitting around at home wondering what to do. They get an email from this strange life. So well, that might be interesting. Probably a terrible decision, but everyone we've had on has asked to come back. So that's good.
Yeah, as a writer, is it enjoyable for you to kind of do this almost like talk show type thing? How do you use your skills as a writer in this kind of new way?
You're exactly right to point that out. It's a really good question because what I've done is I've switched. from just writing, typing, to talking, and now I use it's a lot quicker, it's a lot bloody easier to talk than it is to write. So yeah, I'm happy to use both skills, and it's as I said before, the staying in a room by yourself just typing is not probably that healthy for someone. So it's probably good that I get out at least once a week.
Yeah, I'm very similar. I like to be in a room and paint. So
yes,
it's very artists and writers and everyone. They're super happy right now.
just me time.
Yeah, it's great. What do you like to write about? Horrible question, but try and tell us.
Okay. I've just finished a book called The Circus, which is about a tightrope walker artist who escapes the circus because there's a murder, so it's a crime on the traveling circus route, and the Jimmy, the tightrope walker, decides to escape, and because his mind is so taken up by the carnival world, by the circus world, he finds it difficult to adapt to ordinary civilian life.
Right.
So he ends up being hospitalized in a mental health treatment center. Who they have the idea that this circus is all a construct, it's all in his mind, it didn't really happen. So I guess that could be described as a metaphysical psychological thriller. So in other words, I write weird stuff. And the book I'm working on now is called The Virus, and it's just a blatant grab for money. Opportunist grab for money during the current pandemic.
Like what Netflix are doing as well. Showing all these, So where did these ideas come from? You seem kind of normal. So where in your mind do you think you get all this inspiration from?
Well, the circus one, I had the original story like 10 years ago, but I couldn't find a way for it to work. And then something about the circus. The circus was on TV, or somebody was mentioning the circus. I thought, oh, that's it. The circus and the rehab unit, put them together, job done. But yeah, I get like 1,000 ideas a day, and it's just like, which ones do I choose? Which ones do I not choose? So the problem isn't like, where do I get them from? The problem is like, how do I make them stop?
Yeah. Do you think writers like yourself who maybe write fiction, do you think like certain people are born with a talent? Do you think that's the same for writers?
Oh, that's a good question. I think a lot of it has to do with childhood trauma, actually.
Yeah.
That people hear me out. I think kids who have unsatisfactory like domestic or home lives create parallel realities which they're allowed to escape into. So I think that if you want your child to be an artist, just be a really bad parent.
Yeah.
It really helps. But also, I think if you read some writers, they are just naturally good. You know,
yeah.
Fitzgerald in the 20s or something. I mean, where does that come from? That has to be God-given. So I think it's like anything, bit of nurture, bit of nature.
Exactly.
Quite a bit of hard work as well.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of repetition.
Mm-hmm. Do you ever write about Thailand?
Yeah, good question, because pretty much 80% of my work is about Thailand.
Mm-hmm.
But I've disguised it. I found when I started out writing short stories, short pulp fiction short stories, I'd write a story set in Koh Phangan, or I'd write a story set in Bangkok. And they're bouncing back from publishers. And I found if I changed Koh Phangan or if I changed Bangkok to Amsterdam, they would get accepted and they would be published. So there seemed to be a bit of a stigma about writing about Thailand or writing fiction at that time. So my first Bangkok Express, this one here, this is the first edition. I set in Bangkok and on Koh Samui, but then I later changed Bangkok to a city called Fun City. I made up this mythical, crazy place called Fun City, which is partly Bangkok, it's partly Pattaya, it's partly Koh Samui and Koh Phangan as well. So it's like there's a town, a harbour, and 3 islands. So it's like all the parts of Thailand I find interesting in one world.
Yeah.
Called Fun City, and I do this so I can criticize. I can criticize the Fun City police or the government, the administration, without myself hopefully in trouble with Thailand. I'm a bit sneaky about it, but I do write about Thailand.
That's really interesting. So just want to ask you a couple of like expat questions. Is it, I mean, what would you say are some good points and some bad points of being an expat living in Bangkok specifically?
Well, I think the important things are to learn the language or learn as much as you can. So that would be a bad point and a good point. It would be a challenge. So you don't know the language, that's bad, but you can learn it, that's good. So it's a challenge, and it's always enjoyable to learn the language. The weather's pretty horrible, isn't it? It's just the older I get, the hotter it gets, I'm sure. With all the air conditioning everywhere, pumping out hot. See, I'm sweating here in my man cave.
I too have this here because I have the AC at night because we have a baby, and I'm just constantly blowing my nose because now I'm in the heat and the humidity. So I agree with that.
It's again, it's a good thing and it's a bad thing. You know, we're not going to freeze to death at night. It can be uncomfortable. But I just love the way, as an expat, you are kind of allowed to exist within Thai society, and you're allowed to contribute and participate as much as you like, but you're not required to. Do you see what I mean? You can be on the kind of edge, and you can just kind of dip into it when you like to, and stay on the edge if you like. I mean, you're not part of the rigid hierarchy of Thai society, you know, being a Farang. But you can, and they're very welcoming people, of course. They're very lovely people. So you've got the best of both worlds, you know. I think it's probably one of the best places to live in the world, actually, Thailand.
And
it's all good.
Yeah, that's good. Is there anything you want to talk about that you're working on at the moment that you would like to share with us?
It was just the full moon party.
Yes, great.
We're on a
it.
Koh Phangan, we're on a Koh Phangan podcast, and I made a film called Crazy Medicine back in 2017, and one of the actresses, a lady called Kate Tiger, came up to me after one of the screenings and said, "James, I've got an idea for a film. It came to me in a dream." Like, oh wow, it came to you in a dream. It must be good. It came to me in a dream, and there's a mermaid, and the mermaid lives on Koh Phangan. There's a group of people called the Islanders who discover this mermaid. I'm like, okay, Kate, about this. I kind of like it. I like the idea. I'd love to shoot a film in Koh Phangan, and I love the idea of something supernatural happening around the full moon, because full moons historically are in varied societies, you know, supernatural. So I have an idea of a vlogger guy coming from the States, He gets to Bangkok, he gets to Khao San Road. It sounds like a beach already, but it isn't. But he meets a group of people called the lunatics. The lunar being moon, ticks, that makes them talk. They're a little bit crazy. They go down to the Koh Phangan full moon party every month, but they've heard that people are disappearing each month. Backpackers disappearing, and this coincides with the disappearance of people on one of the islands down that way in the real news as well. So that was interesting. And I thought rather than a mermaid, perhaps have maybe a werewolf or something supernatural. Anyway, and so I wrote the script, I wrote the screenplay, and we travelled down and scouted out locations, and we raised some money. Then the company that raised the money disbanded, so we were back to route one. So at some point I would love to go back to Full Moon Party and perhaps shoot it down there at some point in the future. It'd be good fun.
I think it would be great, yeah. Would you do it actually at the Full Moon Party, or would you have to set up, you know, saying that the Full Moon Party comes back, or would you set up something that looks like the Full Moon Party?
Yeah, the one thing I would probably set up another party on a beach that would resemble the Full Moon Party. There'd just be too many restrictions, I think.
Yeah.
You know, everyone has to sign a piece of paper to say that they're happy to have their image used, you know, or you pay everyone, obviously, as extras to come on and be in the film. So it'd be a bit cheeky to go around and just shoot it guerrilla style. I think you'd have to set it up. Probably one of the smaller beaches would be better. Yeah, I mean, how are the parties now? The last one I went to was kind of it rained. It rained throughout in December 2018, I think it was.
Well, at the moment there's none.
But when they come back, they will come back, right?
Yeah, I mean they're great. I mean the busiest ones get about 30,000 people. But then you also have parties like Jungle Experience and Waterfall Party and Loy Lay. The Jungle Experience is a huge one, but then also you have the smaller kind of more local ones which are really nice. So I mean the party scene here is really in its peak until Corona came along, but there's a lot of DJs here who have no work. There's a lot of all the staff from the party, the bar staff, the door staff, Thai, Burmese and foreigners, all the entertainers have really been hit hard. I think that's one of the sad things, but
so we need one really big party in July or August.
Yeah.
I think it will, right? It's going to have to come back.
Yeah, I'm not sure about this year, but let's see. There's a lot of fundraising happening on Koh Phangan for the community. That's a great thing about this island is no one's starving, because even the DJs are doing a live stream and all the money goes to all the workers. It's really fantastic, actually. So that's one of the benefits that have come from like such a nice community. No one's being left behind.
I think that's what the pandemic has shown us as well, is that we don't need to rely on the man so much. We can help each other out, you know, by you know, just doing little things, bartering perhaps. You're good at this skill, I can do that. You know, we've got extra food, let's give it to people who don't. So I think that's one of the good things that came out of it, really, is that you know, we are self-sufficient to a degree, you know, and we should try and localize as much as possible.
Has your work been directly affected by it? I mean, because I speak to travel writers, you see, who have definitely been affected, but has yours had any sort of repercussions from the pandemic?
Well, I went from I quit freelancing just before it happened, actually, in 2018, and I attached myself to a university here. So I work at Mcafee University, and all writing I do is extra to that. So I was really fortunate that I just decided to take a safer position before it hit, because filmmaking especially just died. You know, all the productions were just just grounded. So yeah, luckily for me and my family, I decided to take a teaching position for that year. So we were lucky. But yeah, travel writers down, or people working related to hotels. And yeah, I just think we need to get back. I think really we need to get back into the mix. And
yeah, for sure.
Things need to open up.
Yeah. Did you see in the Bangkok Post today about the Thailand's? Their opinion is that Thailand might need to kind of open themselves up to get some more infections to get the economy going again, because we've been 31 days with no new cases. But if we remain so closed, you know, it could. Do you see what I mean? It was interesting, you know, to allow.
I can see the logic.
Yeah.
And I agree. I think we should. I think we should be, as human beings, we should be able to take a risk and decide that the evils of one thing outweigh another. So the not working and not providing for our family is more dangerous than potentially having a cough for a few weeks. So, you know, I'm high risk. I have asthma. You know, I'm happy just to get back out there.
Yeah,
that's what we should do.
Yeah.
One always wear one of these.
Yeah. One question that did come to mind, James, is what are the differences of, say, writing a book and then writing a screenplay for a movie?
You always know that a book will be produced or published. So, and that gives you a kind of, you know, that gives you a real reason to do it. Whereas with a film script, you can write it and you can write the best film script in the world, but it might not be greenlit, it might not be produced, it might not even be looked at. So a book, the novel is my favorite medium because I know I'm in complete control. I don't need to rely on money men or directors or actors or, you know, producers. I know it will get to market eventually. So I have more faith in the product. And screenwriting is pretty tricky as well, actually. Screenwriting is, it has to be very immediate. You know, there's no time to gaze into your belly button. Everything has to happen very structured and very immediately for people to take notice. So for me, I find screenwriting a bit more difficult, and novel writing is more enjoyable.
And what started you? I take it you were novel writing first. What was the transition to? Was it just an idea you thought, oh, I want to have a go at this, or?
No, I sold a movie option on one of my books, and the producer, an Australian guy, and so I had like thousands. You know, I had money from writing a novel once, and he commissioned me to write the screenplay. So I had to learn. So I read a few books about writing screenplays and looked at a few screenplays and just figured it out. But yeah, I probably wouldn't have done that unless I'd been paid to do it. But yeah, I had to figure it out.
Well, it's great that you do both, I think.
Yeah, it's all fun. I mean, I like doing a little bit of travel journalism and reviews and stuff like that as well. So, yeah, it becomes less boring the more different things you try and do.
Yeah, for sure. And lastly, leave us with some advice for writers. Do you have any that springs to mind? Good advice.
Yeah, sure. Don't do it. No. Read a lot. Read, and practice writing a lot. Read books on writing. Read On Writing by Stephen King. Read Elements of Style. And just keep writing and know that it will probably be crap at first. You know, it's like painting. You know, you have to get through it, you have to produce a certain amount of work, which isn't that great. When you get to really produce stuff that is okay, and if you're this, and you have to take criticism, and you've got to really get over yourself, just don't care.
Yeah, don't wallow in it.
You have to be like a psychopath. I don't know. Yeah, but if as I say, if you are that way inclined, the problem isn't how do I write? It's how do I stop? I would go to these writing meetings in Bangkok, and you'd sit around in a circle like an AA recovery group meeting.
Yeah.
They ask about how they can start writing. They don't have the time, and they have to do their tax returns. And my problem was I couldn't stop. It was like an addiction. So yeah, if you're really set on doing anything I say I'll do, it's not going to make any difference. So just go ahead and do it. Have fun.
Oh, well, thank you so much, James. I actually had my first Phanganist therapy sessions, got my first interview. He cancelled, but I feel like we've done like the Zoom and writing addiction with you today. So yes. Everything happens for a reason.
I'll see you in the Zoom addiction class.
Yes, in the Zoom addiction. Yeah. It's a great tool. I'm getting used to it. So thank you so much, Koh Phangan.
Thanks so much. Best regards to Phanganist.